Emily's head was resting on this pillow. He picked up this throw pillow from the couch. He jumped onto the bed. He put this throw pillow over her face, and he shot her once and twice, directly into the left side of her head.
This man, Joseph Ferlazzo, had planned a romantic trip to Vermont with his young wife, Emily Jean Schwarz. It was their first wedding anniversary, a time for love and celebration. But behind the facade of happiness lurked something far more sinister. By the end of the weekend, Emily, just 22 years old, was gone forever. Shot in the head while lying in bed, her lifeless body dismembered in a cold and calculated act. And the man she loved stood at the center of a gruesome and horrifying crime. How did a story of love and laughter descend into one of lies, violence, and betrayal? Let's uncover the shocking twists of a case that reminds us how easily appearances can deceive. This is a story of deceit, violence, and betrayal that will leave you questioning everything about appearances. Emily Schwarz met Joseph Ferlazzo, a 41-year-old tattoo artist, in 2020. Their love story began like a whirlwind. Within weeks of meeting, they moved into an apartment in Essex Junction, Vermont. By October of that same year, they were married. Despite their 19-year age gap, the couple appeared happy. Emily, a nursing assistant with dreams of becoming a cosmetologist, was drawn to Joseph's charm. Joseph, on the other hand, was struggling financially when they met, couch surfing and trying to make ends meet. Seeking adventure and cost savings, the pair embraced a minimalist van life, purchasing and renovating a Chevrolet Express shuttle bus they named Rosie. This mobile home symbolized a fresh start, but it would later become the centerpiece of a horrific crime scene. Friends and family noticed cracks in their seemingly idyllic relationship. Emily's mother would later recount seeing bruises on her daughter's body, often after arguments about Joseph's infidelity. Despite these concerns, Emily's optimism about her marriage never wavered publicly. Her friends described her as bubbly and trusting, with a natural ability to light up any room. Joseph, however, began showing controlling tendencies. Behind the scenes, Emily confided in a few close friends about her growing fears, but she remained hopeful that things would improve. October 15, 2021, marked the beginning of their fateful trip. The couple left their New Hampshire home, excitedly packing Rosie and their dog, Remington, for a weekend getaway. Emily was thrilled to meet Joseph's sister, Nicole, for the first time. Emily's mother recalled her daughter's excitement as she packed, chatting about the planned reunion and her hopes for a relaxing trip. The couple arrived at the Bear Run condos in Bolton, Vermont, around 7:20 p.m.
In October of 2021, Mr. Ferlazzo and his wife Emily made a plan to come to Vermont for a weekend for their one-year anniversary. You heard from Emily's mother that Emily was excited. She was looking forward to meeting her sister-in-law, Nicole. She was in a good mood and she was looking forward to the trip. They drove up here in their van with their dog from New Hampshire on the evening of Friday, October 15th of 2021. They arrived in Vermont at the Bear Run condos at 7:20 p.m. They parked at a condo complex on Bear Run in Bolton.
Emily sent her last Facebook message to her family at 8:13 p.m., expressing her enthusiasm about the evening ahead. But behind closed doors, tensions were brewing. Joseph's decision to bring Emily to a place where he brought his ex-wife on their anniversary triggered an argument. The couple's dynamic was already strained by unresolved issues over Joseph's polyamorous preferences and Emily's insistence on monogamy. At 12:01 a.m., Joseph turned off his phone. What followed was a chilling descent into violence.
They parked at a condo complex on Bear Run in Bolton. They met with Nicole for about 15 minutes out in the parking lot inside the van, with a plan for Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily to meet them inside the Airbnb to catch up, watch Netflix, and hang out. But they never did. And we know that Emily sent her last Facebook message to her family at 8:13 p.m. We know that Mr. Ferlazzo sent a text message to his sister Nicole inside the Airbnb at 9:39 p.m. Hey, we're gonna take the night to rest, smiley face. You still drink coffee? We'll see you tomorrow morning.
As Emily lay on the bed scrolling through her phone, unaware of the danger, Joseph retrieved a Glock 19 pistol with a silencer. Overcome with rage, he placed a pillow over her head and fired 2 shots into the left side of her head, killing her instantly.
Something inside of him said, enough is enough. But instead of walking away from Emily, going into his sister's Airbnb, out of the van, instead he executes his plan. He got up from the couch, he went to the closet, he grabbed this Glock 19 with this silencer. He walked over to the bed. Emily's head was resting on this pillow. He picked up this throw pillow from the couch. He jumped onto the bed. He put this throw pillow over her face, and he shot her once and twice, directly into the left side of her head, killing her. Both of those bullets exited her skull on the right side of her head and came to rest inside the very pillow that her head was laying on.
Joseph's actions after the murder reveal a disturbing level of calculation. He moved Emily's lifeless body to the camper's shower and began dismembering her. Using a serrated saw and multiple knives, he cut her body into pieces, placing the remains into 8 black garbage bags.
And amongst all of these activities, he decides that he needs to make her body easier to carry, easier to move, and easier to discard. Mr. Ferlazzo uses this serrated saw and dismembers her arms, her legs, her feet, and her head. He dismembers them from her torso. The same torso, absolutely riddled with stab wounds, including one striking her heart. 3 different knives had her DNA on them. At least 3 different knives were used to stab her heart 1 time, her abdomen 8 times, and her back 9 times. Then he puts each piece of her body in garbage bags.
The autopsy would later reveal 18 post-mortem stab wounds to Emily's abdomen, back, and chest, an act that seemed to reflect pure rage.
And immediately after killing her, rather than calling 911, any police agency, his ex-wife, or his sister, who was just yards away from him, Mr. Ferlazzo instead shuts off Emily's phone because, in his words, quote, he wasn't going to use it and she wasn't going to use it. After he shut off her phone, Mr. Ferlazzo puts a market basket shopping bag over Emily's head, tied a garbage bag around her neck, used his 6-foot, 200-pound body to carry her 5'1", 130-pound body into the shower. He bagged up this bloody pillowcase, this bloody sheet. He then put her shoes, her glasses, her wallet, and her phone in a plastic grocery bag, but was careful to keep her ID. He put new sheets, a new blanket, and new pillows on the bed, and he turns his phone back on at 1:35 a.m. Then he turns it off at 2:10 and back on at 3:39 a.m. Then he gets back in the very bed he just killed his wife in.
While the crime scene was horrifying, Joseph's behavior in the following days was equally shocking. He carried on with routine activities, texting his sister about breakfast plans, dining out, and even tattooing her.
And just a few hours later, at 7:48 a.m., while his wife's body is in his shower, he texts his sister, "I can't sleep. Any interest in going for breakfast?" And even makes a recommendation on where to go. "Maxie's has really good breakfast, exclamation point. I just French pressed some coffee. Have you had coffee yet?" And off they go to Maxie's, where Mr. Ferlazzo has eggs and a mimosa. Then he drives his van from Bolton to St. Albans, parks the van on the property of his best friend. And rather than telling them that Emily's in the van, that he killed her, that he had to kill her, he tells them she took off. And then he sets up shop and starts to give his sister a tattoo.
He sent multiple text messages to Emily's phone, crafting a facade of concern and searching for her.
But not before sending Emily's phone a text message. "Whatever, exclamation point and angry face. I'm gonna spend time with Nikki while I can, exclamation point. Call me." And 3 hours later, he finishes his sister's tattoo. And an hour after that, he goes out to eat again. This time at Twig's, a gastropub in St. Albans. He eats dinner, he has drinks, and he gets a ride back to the Lang residence, and he again sleeps in the van with Emily's body still in the shower. And the next day, he goes out to Burlington with his sister, he gets coffee, and again, he goes out to eat. And again, he says nothing to Nicole about what he did to Emily.
On Monday, October 18th, Joseph returned to New Hampshire on his motorcycle, leaving Rosie behind in Vermont. When he arrived at Emily's parents' home, suspicions were immediately raised. If you're finding this story captivating, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime content. Your support means a lot. Thank you. Emily's parents, Adrian and David Bass, quickly realized something was wrong. Joseph's demeanor was off, and his explanations about Emily's whereabouts were vague and inconsistent. He claimed they'd argued, and Emily stormed off near Route 2. He insisted she'd likely taken an Uber home. Concerned, Emily's mother contacted the Vermont State Police that evening. By midnight, authorities located the camper in St. Albans, Vermont. Inside, they discovered the 8 garbage bags containing Emily's dismembered remains. Forensic analysis revealed bloody knives and a saw, along with spent bullets and a blood-stained pillow. Investigators also found Emily's engagement ring, stained with blood, in a cup holder. The police launched a manhunt for Joseph, issuing a statewide alert. A stroke of luck occurred when a state trooper recognized him at a convenience store in St. Albans. During interrogation, Joseph confessed to the murder, providing chilling details of the crime.
I don't even know. I just know that I sat down and was something inside my head, just I remember feeling really warm, and I remember feeling blurry, and I don't know, something inside me said enough is enough.
Something inside of him said, enough is enough.
Joseph Ferlazzo's trial, which began in December 2024, was a courtroom drama that captivated the nation. The defense's strategy was to portray Joseph as the victim of a toxic and abusive marriage.
What happened after you shot her?
I yelled at her. I said, "Are you kidding?" And why the hell would you do that?
Did you know she was dead?
I picked her up.
You're asking for a sidebar escort, but don't come up here.
His lawyers alleged that Emily had a history of violent behavior and that Joseph's actions were a desperate act of self-defense. They presented stories from Joseph's testimony, where he described instances of alleged physical abuse by Emily, including black eyes and bruises.
I left my device open for her to see who I was talking to.
Your phone?
My phone.
Yes.
And it led to, it led to violence. And
explain what you mean by
physical abuse started coming into our relationship, where she would go through my phone and then respond by beating on me.
So you just testified that it was normal or to lash out physically when a person gets frustrated?
Or it might not be normal for everyone, but most of my relationships, the women in my life, have been aggressive and I guess I could say physically abusive.
You tolerated being hit?
Yes.
Am I hearing you?
Yes.
Prosecutors, however, dismantled this narrative with methodical precision. They pointed to forensic evidence that contradicted Joseph's claims. Both firearms at the crime scene belonged to Joseph, and the autopsy revealed no signs of alcohol in Emily's system, despite his assertions that she had been drinking. The evidence suggested premeditation, from Joseph turning off his phone before the murder to his calculated efforts to conceal the crime. Witnesses took the stand to shed light on Joseph's controlling behavior and manipulation. Emily's mother recounted her daughter's growing fears and visible injuries from previous altercations. Friends testified about Joseph's jealousy and erratic tendencies. Perhaps most damning was the testimony of Spencer Lemons, a friend who reported Joseph's confession to him and later called 911.
And what was Mr. Ferlazzo's demeanor like while you were driving in the car?
He was quiet.
Did you ask him why he was quiet?
I did ask him if there was anything going on, and he seemed a little distraught. He said, I just want to get to the bus. And so I had him point the directions out to me as we went.
Okay, keep your voice up.
He pointed the directions out to me as we went.
Okay. And generally speaking, where were you traveling to?
We were traveling to St. Albans,
And about how long would it take to get from your home to St. Albans?
about 30 minutes.
Did you arrive in St. Albans?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you arrived in St. Albans?
We went in St. Albans. He gave me directions to where to go, and we arrived at where his bus was parked, and I assume that's the Langs.
What did you see when you arrived where the bus was parked?
I saw several patrol SUVs parked outside the residence.
And when you say patrol SUVs, do you mean police cars?
These vehicles,
Do you remember how many you saw?
3 or 4.
What did you think when you saw those police vehicles?
Alarm bells went off in my head, and then he said, just go to the end of the road. It was a dead end road, and he said, turn around. And then I turned around, and he instructed me to drive past the police.
When he told you to turn around, what did that make you think?
That made me think something was not correct in the situation, and thus it prompted me to continue to prod him for what's going on.
Okay, and did you do that?
I did. I asked him, what's going on, man? You need to tell me what's going on. If I'm going to be driving past police officers, I need to know what is going on.
And did he respond to you?
He did.
How did he respond?
He responded to me with, there's a lot going on. I wish I could see my grandmother. And then I said, what is going on? He said, Emily is back in the van. I said, is Emily alive? He said, no.
Prosecutors also highlighted Joseph's chilling lack of remorse. In the days following Emily's murder, he maintained an eerie facade of normalcy, dining out and socializing as if nothing had happened. His demeanor during the trial further fueled public outrage, with many perceiving his tears as insincere and performative. The jury's deliberation lasted less than 2 hours.
How do you find Mr. Ferlazzo on the count of first-degree murder, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Jantz, would you like us to poll?
I would, please.
And Mr. Zegu, is that your verdict, guilty or not? Ms. Henderson, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Nault, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Francescani, guilty or not guilty? Mr. Fredrickson, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. And Mr. Williams, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. Ms. Major, guilty or not guilty? Mr. Wing, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. Ms. Hammond, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. Mr. Kareem, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. And Ms. Calvis, guilty or not guilty? So says the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. It's clear you were very thoughtful throughout the trial.
Their verdict was swift and unanimous, guilty of first-degree murder. If you're still with us, make sure to like and subscribe to keep up with more shocking true crime stories. Your support helps us bring these stories to light. Don't miss out on what's next. The verdict brought a sense of closure, but not solace for Emily's family. Joseph Ferlazzo was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in muted relief as the sentence was read, with Emily's family holding on to one another tightly.
The only thing that can make it better really is to have my daughter back in my arms and alive and breathing and singing and loving life the way that she was.
In a separate civil case, Emily's family was awarded $1.5 million in a wrongful death lawsuit, a symbolic but hollow victory as the emotional toll of their loss remained immeasurable. The aftermath of the trial saw Emily's story spark broader conversations about domestic violence and the warning signs that often go unnoticed. Advocacy groups used her case as a rallying cry to promote resources for abuse victims, ensuring her memory would serve as a beacon of hope for others in similar situations. Emily Schwarz was more than a victim. She was a vibrant young woman with dreams of becoming a cosmetologist, a daughter who brought joy to her family, and a friend who left an indelible mark on those who knew her. Her tragic story is a stark reminder of the dangers of domestic abuse and the importance of recognizing warning signs. Emily's legacy lives on, not only through the advocacy her case inspired, but also in the memories of those who loved her. Her family hopes that by sharing her story, they can help prevent similar tragedies and encourage others to seek help when they need it most. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out to a trusted organization for help. Resources are available, and no one should face such dangers alone. Thank you for joining us in uncovering the chilling details of this case. If this story has left you disturbed or reflective, please share your thoughts and reflections. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay with us as we continue to explore the stories that reveal the darkest sides of human behavior. Together, we keep these lessons alive, ensuring the voices of victims are never forgotten. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe or follow.